I find mentorship extremely beneficial because I've seen firsthand how powerful it is in shaping careers of our students and mine in particular, building confidence, opening doors that might otherwise have stayed closed.
First, identify it, right? And then we're not just going to reach out to them and say, just be my mentor. That's not how we're going to do it, right? You have to start building that relationship, right?
Try and leverage your existing connections, and then you can ask for a warm introduction to a specific mentor, because a warm introduction will build more credibility than cold outreach.
And know that mentorship doesn't always have to be a lifelong relationship as well. What steps can mentees take to maximize the benefits of this relationship? Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm your moderator, Megan Doherty, and today you're joining the panel for Building Canada's Next-Gen Cyber Defenders, Finding and Utilizing Mentorship. I am joined by Trecia Knight and Roxana Rozembaigher. Ladies, I would love for you to introduce yourselves. Trecia?
Hi, I'm Trecia Knight. I'm a cybersecurity and IT risk professional with over 15 years of experience spanning multiple industries such as travel, banking, and now healthcare. I began my career as a Unix administrator, and through clear goal setting and intentional conversations, I transitioned into IT audit and eventually cybersecurity. Currently, I'm a senior information security specialist at Ontario Health. But beyond my professional roles, I am passionate about fostering inclusive professional growth. Having been both a mentor and mentee, I understand how purposeful guidance can accelerate career and build confidence and open doors. So I'm excited today for us to dive into mentorship and how it can be meaningful career development and inclusion.
Thank you, Trecia. Roxana?
Hi, everyone. I'm Roxana. I'm the Associate Director of Program Recruitment at the Rogers Cybersecure Catalyst, based at Toronto Metropolitan University. And I've spent over 16 years in the higher education industry, in recruitment, admissions, training, and certification, and 5 years at the Catalyst. And the Catalyst runs multiple training programs that help people transition into and advance within the cybersecurity field, anywhere from entry level to leadership roles. And I find mentorship extremely beneficial because I've seen firsthand how powerful it is in shaping careers of our students and mine in particular, building confidence, opening doors that might otherwise have stayed closed. And many of our students at the Catalyst are stepping into cybersecurity from different paths, and having mentors who believe in them and help them navigate the unknown often becomes a turning point in someone's career journey. And of course, I've also had lots of mentors throughout my career who have guided me, who have challenged me, and helped me to show up more boldly. So for me, mentorship isn't just about advice. It's about networking, community, and the belief that everyone can rise higher if we support each other. So I'm really excited for today's conversation.
Amazing. I love that so much, especially what you and Trecia both had to say about your journeys as to why mentorship is so important, which is why we're all on this panel today. So a bit of background: Megan Doherty, Senior Cybersecurity Technical Specialist with Microsoft. The fancy way of saying a cybersecurity pre-sales engineer. I spent the last 5 years working in our large financials and insurance sector, as well as our federal space, making sure that our large organizations are equipped with the strategies and the tooling for cybersecurity that's needed. And I've participated myself in multiple mentorship programs, being able to lift up the next generation of cybersecurity professionals, as well as engineering and women in STEM. And I believe that's how I got my role today. So mentorship really flows through your career path and how you form meaningful connections. With that, let's get into our first question. What are some effective ways to approach a potential mentor and initiate a mentorship relationship? I know this is probably the hardest step, is knowing when to kind of form that connection and who to form it with. So Trecia, what do you think are some effective ways to begin that journey?
So first of all, start off by clearly defining your own goals and aspiration. Know why you want a mentor, why you're seeking a mentor. And then once you've established that, then you can start identifying individuals or seeking out individuals whose career path align with your own aspiration. And so it could be somebody who you've met or seen speak at an event, right? Or it could be somebody you've seen on LinkedIn that you see their career and that's something you want to emulate, right? But first, identify it, right? And then we're not just going to reach out to them and say, be my mentor. That's not how we're going to do it, right? You have to start building that relationship, right? So if it's somebody at a conference, right, and this is the first time you've seen them, listen to their talk, understand what they're talking about, have some takeaways from it. And then when you approach that person, maybe you can bring it up in conversation. Oh, I enjoyed your talk and this was what I thought about it and so on. That's a way to initiate conversation. If it's somebody maybe on LinkedIn that you've seen, right? Maybe start following them. Do your research, understand what they've done. If they've written articles, read their articles. Maybe some of them have written books, read their books.
Mm-hmm.
Show interest, show genuine interest in their path, their growth, what it is they're doing. So the key is to build that relationship. We're not just going to go and start asking, right? And then initially, so then you can ask small, right? Maybe you can reach out and maybe ask, maybe for like a 15 minutes coffee chat, or maybe ask a specific question where you know they're knowledgeable about, right? So small ask. And if they respond to you or agree for a coffee chat, show up prepared, right? Show that you're committed. But the key is to start building that relationship slowly. We're not going to just jump in and ask, because this is somebody's time and time is valuable. Why do they want to spend time with you, right? So show that you're committed and you're serious. So that's how I would approach it. And that's how I normally approach things like that.
I agree. Roxana?
I mean, I think Trecia said a lot of it, but I will add a few other things. So start with leveraging your existing connections. You may think you don't have the network, but if you look around, you probably do have a network of friends, even family, who know other people, maybe your coworkers or your fellow students if you're a student. So try and leverage your existing connections, and then you can ask for a warm introduction to a specific mentor, because a warm introduction will build more credibility than cold outreach. And so what we tell our students at the Catalyst, who we also encourage to get mentors, is pay close attention to any guest speakers that you come across in your training. Industry professionals that you meet at events, as Trecia said, or any instructors who have career paths that might inspire you. And then you have that connection, and you can reach out to them with a specific ask. So, for example, an introduction might be, I'm currently navigating a transition from a technical role to a leadership position. And your experience in leading cybersecurity teams is something I really admire. Would you be open to an informational interview or a coffee chat? And also do your homework, as Trecia also mentioned. So you really want to make sure that you know that mentor's career trajectory, so that you can show you're genuinely interested in them, and then have things to talk about during that first meeting. And very important, come prepared. If you do get that meeting, show up early. It's probably going to be a virtual meeting, but it could be in person. Maybe it's a phone call. You want to make sure you show up early, you're prepared with your questions, you're well dressed, you're well lit. If you're on camera, you don't want to have to make your mentor work to hear you, to see you, to understand you. And you want to have a concise introduction, right? So keep it under a minute, tell them who you are, what you do, and the reason that you are looking for your mentor. And I'll leave you with one last thing. You usually want to come up with like 1 or 2 challenges that you're facing at work to drive the conversation. So one can be specific and another one could be more open-ended. So for example, I see that you're an arts major and now you're in cybersecurity. How did you get here? Can you tell me a little bit more about your journey? Because I also come from a non-technical background. And then finally, follow up. Don't just leave them hanging. Thank them for their time. And if you implemented something that they suggested, tell them that you implemented it, how you implemented it, so that they can see that they provided value to you and that you are appreciative of their time and advice.
Amazing. Everything I had to add was already said by you two. So summarizing that, and I can take the question that was just asked as well. When you approach your mentor, you need to make sure that you're both receiving something out of the relationship. So doing your research, your due diligence, and understanding why their career path or their skill set is going to benefit you in your challenges that you're looking to overcome. Clearly defining what you want out of that mentorship is going to make that initial approach significantly easier. And it's an easier buy-in for your potential mentor as well, because it shows that you've put in the effort to understand what the relationship could look like. Just quickly, we have the formal versus informal mentor, coach for career development. How are expectations different? And is it common at the executive level to have a paid mentoring coach? I think the difference between a coach and a mentor is a little bit different. And then we have the idea of sponsorship as well. So a coach is a paid version of a mentor, I would say, who is making a career out of mentorship. That is their goal, is to elevate you, to help you work through certain problems. And we see people generally get coaches later on in their career journey at the executive level. I don't think everyone has an executive coach, but generally the higher you are up the corporate food chain, let's say, a coach may be someone who is able to help you work on your executive presence and so forth. An informal mentor is going to be someone, for example, I have an informal technical mentor at work. They're going to help me through some of the technical challenges or upskilling that I have. It's not a defined relationship, but when we go in, we know what we're working on. Whereas a formal mentor is someone who, to a certain extent, is what Trecia and Roxana described, where you're reaching out with an initial purpose, and you're trying to garner something from that relationship specifically because of the professional's skill set to help you move forward. With that, let's jump into our second question, because it was a great transition. So once you've already made that initial contact and the mentorship relationship is established, what steps can mentees take to maximize the benefits of this relationship? Trecia, I'll start with you, and then I'll go in with my comments.
Okay, thanks, Megan. So if it's a formal or informal mentorship, you want to drive that relationship, right? So as I previously mentioned, set your own goals. What are you hoping to achieve? And with the first meeting or so on, be clear and concise to your mentor what the goals you're hoping to achieve and what you want to work on. So you're driving it. If it's a formal mentorship, then you will set the cadence for the meeting. Like if it's something that you do regularly, you will set it up, you will initiate it. And whenever you show up for your mentorship for that meeting, you want to come prepared. And Roxana touched on this a little bit. You want to show up prepared. Do your research. If you have specific things you want to work on, come with it. if now say this is a second meeting, or if you had emailed them and you had asked for advice, and Roxanne had mentioned this, and you want to show them that you implemented the advice, because they need to know that you're committed, right? This is not a quick fix, quick up jump to career. You have to work on it, you have to build it, you have to show commitment. So come back with feedback that, oh, I implemented the advice you suggested and this was the outcome, right? You need to show commitment to it and ask for feedback, right? Ask for feedback and be open to constructive criticism, because sometimes, when somebody's explaining something to us about what we could have done better, we get defensive. No, we're not going to take that approach. You're going to be open. You're going to take it under advisement and see how you can implement it. Because this is why you reach out to this person in the first place, right? Because you feel they could add value, they can help you grow. So you're going to take their advice and you're going to try and implement it as best as you can, right? So get your feedback and show respect for their time. And I think Roxanne had mentioned this, show up on time, respect this person's time, right? Because if they spend 30 minutes with you, it's 30 minutes they could have spent doing something else, doing their work, spending time with their family, their hobby. So show up prepared, show up committed, right? This will build on the relationship, right? So, so you drive the relationship, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think, reiterating on that and what we talked about in the last question is that you need to drive the goals, the agenda, and your cadence to show that this is a relationship that you're pursuing with a specific purpose. You need to make sure your objectives and goals are set, and what you both want to achieve out of it, because your mentor generally does receive something out of the mentee relationship as well. And I'll give an example. I was doing a mentorship program out of Queen's engineering department. I think it was the Women's and Engineering Society out of Queens. They had looked for some industry mentors. And about 2 or 3 years ago, I was assigned a mentee. And I've had mentees where you come up unprepared, you're both floundering, you're wondering, what can I provide back to my mentee? Because your mentor wants nothing more than to assist you and to help you, because you've chosen them to be someone to give back. I have a mentee who we've been seeing each other for almost 3 years now. Our cadence has greatly dropped, but when she comes to me, it is very prescriptive. We pick back up, we catch up on life, and then we go into exactly what we're hoping to achieve in that meeting. So as an engineering student, for her, it was working on interviews. So we would do prep calls, we would go over resumes, we would go over skill sets, learning paths that would amplify her, because that's what her goals and her challenges going forward. So come set and know that mentorship doesn't always have to be a lifelong relationship as well. You might be able to get what you need out of 2 or 3 sessions with your mentor, and that is fantastic. Be open to their feedback and let them know how they've helped you. I know personally there's nothing better than receiving a, hey, all of the impact you've provided, it allowed me to do X, Y, Z, and that just makes it all more worth it. And I think anyone who's willing to spend time mentoring just wants to know how they've been able to help you. Going into formal mentorship, and the different programs and how they play an effect in career development. Trecia, Roxana, and we'll start with Roxana this time. What role do formal mentorship programs play in career development, and how can organizations effectively implement them? And I just want to say, for those who have questions, please feel free to tag one of us or all of us for who you would like to answer it. That way we can direct them and you get the most out of the question that you're asking. So Roxana, what role do formal mentorship programs play in career development in organizations?
Thanks for the questions. So I'm going to take this or answer this from the Catalyst angle and from an education angle of the mentorship programs that we've established for our students and our learners. So at the Catalyst, we always encourage all of our students to build a network of mentors. So seeking different mentors depending on the area of growth that they want to see. So do they need more technical expertise, leadership development, work-life balance, managing family, studying, and working at the same time. And a great way to do that is to get peer mentorship. So there's lots of students in the same boat, and so they help mentor each other. Another thing that we do is we set up formal coffee chats for a lot of our programs. So we will do a matching for our students with an appropriate mentor who is in the same career trajectory that the student is looking for. And we will do that matching very carefully. Our career team takes great pride in doing that. And we have technical mentors that students can take advantage of during the program. So really, at all stages of their learning journey, we try to set them up with an appropriate mentorship relationship, whether it's a coffee chat, whether it's peer mentoring, or whether it's, even with a Catalyst staff member, for example. And that helps them with their career guidance and navigation, looking at different cybersecurity career paths. So they might speak to someone in cloud security for one of their coffee chats. And then a few weeks later, they might speak to someone who's in digital forensics. And that will help them navigate the career path that they want to choose. And then we also understand that with mentorship comes expanded professional network. So it is one of the great benefits of a mentorship program is expanding everyone's professional network. And then, they're able to leverage more mentorship relationships in the future.
Amazing. Trecia, you've had quite a lot of experience building mentorship programs within an organization. So we'd love to hear your take on it.
Okay, thanks, Megan. So formal mentorship program, especially in a work environment, can be instrumental in providing structured support for employees. And so the one most notable that I spent a lot of time help building was when I was with the bank. I was with TD Bank, and I was a part of the professional development committee for the Black Employee Resource Group. We noticed that there was a need for a mentorship program, so we created one, we built one, and it was hugely successful. And the reason why it was successful is because we spent a lot of time. We set out clear objectives of what we were hoping to accomplish with it. And we spent a lot of time matching the mentee and mentor relationship, right? We took into great consideration what the mentees, their goals were and what they were hoping to develop from it. And even the mentors, their skills and what they wanted to get out of it as well, right? But one of the key reasons why it was successful as well, we had leadership support. We had leadership support, so we were able to get enough leaders volunteering to be mentors, right? Because usually, especially in a professional environment, that's the problem, especially when you're dealing with an underrepresented group. And in this case, the Black employees, right? There weren't enough Black leaders, Black employees in leadership. So we relied a lot on allies participating in it, right? So we were able to match. And what we saw through it is that the feedback we got from participants was we saw promotion, we saw career growth in it. We saw people jump couple bands in the program, right? So it's needed, but you can't just throw it together, right? So you have to take time and effort and get buy-in to a mentorship program in an organization for it to be successful. As I said, you need leadership, you need allyship for it to come in, give to the program, right? And you need serious mentees as well, serious mentors to participate in it. And then even for you as an organizer, for us as an organizer, we did frequent check-ins, right? And we put measurable outcomes for it. And we would check, we collected feedback, right? So we had maybe 4 check-ins. So it went for like 6 months, the program that we developed. And we had maybe 4 check-in as organizers throughout it. And we took that feedback. So we were even changing as it went along, as the program was still going. Because if there was something that was not working and we got feedback for that, we implemented it in it. We made changes to it because we wanted the best out of it. We don't want to waste people's time, right? And this is what I always tell people in mentorship program, especially formal. People's time are valuable, as I also mentioned. Time spent with you is time they could have spent with their family or doing something else for themselves. So we took all of that into consideration and we provided support, meaningful engagement. And it was so successful that the next year when we launched a second, we were able to expand it. We got more leaders to come on board to volunteer their time in it as well. So we were able to put more participants in it. And this program was so successful throughout the organization that other resource group wanted to follow the format that we were doing, right? So a different resource group adopted it, right? So the point is, be mindful of how you set it up, be clear in what your goals are, have real measurable outcomes, and implement the changes as you go along, right?
You two are models for what mentorship should look like within organizations and how these programs should function. I wish I'd had that early in my career. Amazing. So we have 5 minutes left, and we want to give some tangible takeaways for everyone, and really what you can do going forward, and then we'll take our question. So Trecia, Roxana, what are maybe 1 to 2 tangible takeaways that those who are attending our panel right now can take away?
I can start. So it's been mentioned a lot of time, but of course, reflect on your needs. What are you looking for out of a mentor? And then I would also add, practice your outreach. So you want to have a few different personalized messages that you send out to your mentor or potential mentors, and see which one, has more traction. And if you don't get a lot of replies right away, don't get discouraged. It's not something that is going to happen right away. You might get a few no's before you get your first yes. So don't get discouraged, and just keep trying.
Especially because sometimes LinkedIn inboxes and your email inboxes get full, right? As well. And I know personally I'll be floating along and I go, oh my goodness, someone emailed me for mentorship. And it might be a week or 2 later. But it's exciting when I get to reach out. So takeaway 1 is to be patient and make sure that you're making your outreach as wide and targeted at the same time as possible. Trecia.
Yes, to add to what Roxanne said about and what you even say about the response, do not take it personally. Reach out. Reach out if you don't hear back. Don't take it personally. Just move on, find somebody else or so on. Just don't let that discourage you from reaching out to somebody else. Don't take it personal at all. And if somebody do accept, your connection request or that initial conversation, be grateful for it, right? Nobody owes you anything, right? So if you look at it like that, and just be grateful when somebody is willing to give you their time. And I think we brought this up over and over. Know what your goals are and what you're hoping to achieve. Mentorship is not a shortcut to success or anything like that, because even if you establish that mentorship relationship, you have to show commitment, right? You have to show commitment that you're willing to do the work, you're willing to work to achieve your goals, right? So yeah, and just keep at it, right? Keep at it, just keep going. And as I said, don't take it personal, just keep going at it.
Absolutely. Yeah,
I'll add one more.
yeah.
I'll add one more thing if you don't mind. If you do, or when you do get that time to meet with a mentor, whether it's like an informational interview or it's just a quick, 10, 15-minute coffee chat, don't reschedule and please show up, because we have had instances students forget or they, show up late. That is unacceptable. And you will definitely lose that potential mentor if you do that. So take that for what it is. Yeah.
Be respectful. Be respectful. That's the word for it. Be respectful.
Yeah, you're taking someone else's time and they will want to give that back to you, but you need to understand that they could have been, as Trecia said, they could have been doing something else with their day, or they could have been helping another mentee who is more prepared. We have one question and we have 1 minute. It is a difficult question to answer. So please start wrapping up. Okay. Why is it so difficult? And I'm just going to leave it at that. Why is it so difficult to break into the cybersecurity field lately? I'll give my 2 cents. I think within tech in general, we're seeing this being a little bit difficult across the board with the economy and massive tech companies at the moment. So don't get discouraged. I think it's easy to get discouraged, but it is a difficult time at the moment to be going in and out of tech as a whole. Trecia, Roxana, you two have quite a lot of insight. So what do you think is the most difficult part of that at the moment?
I will go. Just keep persevering, keep going at it, try different angles, right? Keep keep upskilling yourself. If it's a certification, I'm huge on certification. So because it can provide the foundation on it. So keep going. Don't get discouraged. If this is something that you really want, keep going at it. Keep building those relationships. Keep showing up. Eventually doors will open. And that's my philosophy in things like this. And as Megan said, like, it could be the economy, why things are a little bit slow right now, or maybe, but keep building that connection. One of these mentor that you've built relationship, it can maybe transition into sponsorship at some point where they can recommend you for a role. So just keep at it, keep committed, keep going.
I love that. Roxana, any closing statements?
I was just going to say the same thing that Trecia just said, leverage the network, and these mentors can eventually be the one that helps you get your foot in the door to a certain organization. So, coming for full circle, the mentor-mentee relationship can provide so much benefit. And one of them is, potential introduction into an organization, a potential new role into that organization. But agreed, it is a tough market out there right now for everybody, for tech, for cyber, and we just all have to persevere and wait till it gets better.
Yeah, we're all here to support each other.
Yeah.
During these times, especially with those who have attended. I hope you all have received something out of our panel today. Trecia, Roxana, thank you so much for joining me. And I hope everyone has a great rest of their day and enjoys the rest of the CyberX sessions.
Thanks, everybody.